I'm going to ask my friend Reese to put on his crystal ball hat, because Reese is unique. He's a legal operations director, but Reese, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you have a technology consulting background, and you've been on the other side of the fence, as we might say, or the dark side. Looking forward in the world that we're in, what do you see with COVID-19, with this crisis? How do you see it transforming the legal ecosystem? You know, is this going to become the new norm for us? Do you think some things will never go back to the way they were?
Yeah, boy, it's interesting hearing all the different perspectives, and I agree. I feel like we, in some regards, launched ahead multiple years in a matter of weeks here. I do think there's a long-term impact. I think there's human impact. I think there's way of working impact. I think there's technology impact. I'll start with the human. You know, as we've all kind of touched on, or many of us have touched on, a lot of industries have been reluctant to work from home. Certainly the consulting industry is used to working wherever there's a corner, but you know, businesses, especially businesses like Campbell's that have been around for 150 years, typically aren't that adept to adopting things like this. We saw that transition overnight, and we saw people who would have been really reluctant to be on a video call, a video happy hour, a video global town hall meeting, being forced to adopt it immediately. And with the balance of having a job, they were happy and eager to do it because they saw friends that were not in as good a position with what's going on. So it certainly, and people have, you know, I would reach out. The first week I was reaching out to people at various levels throughout the organization on Skype and Teams, and getting them used to video. And some of the people that I knew might be have some aversion to it. And by the time the second call happened, they were using it with their teams. They were used to it. So we really saw progression, I think, from a human perspective fairly quickly. I also think people are going to be more open to modifying their ways of working. They're seeing that this does work, and we really haven't had any balls dropped. You know, some of the things that people worry about just aren't coming to fruition. I think there will be technology implications, and I think the three come together. So, you know, if we look at a corporate contracts team, I think they're going to be focused on maybe being a little more proactive in updating their standard templates and their contract language, because we're seeing issues with coronavirus in our contracts. And I don't think it will end with pandemics. I think we'll go back and do lessons learned, but they'll really be focused on, all right, let's really look at our global risk assessments and think about what other things could happen, how quickly, if they do happen, will they happen, and what do we need to be prepared. So contracts, we'll look at our contract templates. We will likely update. We're actually doing a risk assessment, and we've decided to continue to do our annual risk assessment remotely. We're looking at how do we modify that risk assessment quickly to incorporate additional risks that maybe we wouldn't have thought about before. The labor and employment teams will certainly be focused on, you know, we've had to update our policies and procedures quickly. We'll be looking at how we're going to manage those going forward. Even our government affairs team, you know, we have, look at a company like Campbell's, right? I mean, our CEO is on a video with us every Monday, literally saying to the whole company, hey, we really do all feel, I hear it in all of my communications, we feel an obligation to continue to put food on America's table. How do we continue to do that? And there's huge ramifications from a government affairs perspective. I mean, that team has really flown into high gear to deal with the federal, state, and local authorities in making sure that not just us, but the ecosystem that we work with continue to support us. And there are some technology systems that I've been pushing the company to be more open to, like contract management tools that are utilizing artificial intelligence. There's government affairs tools that marry content with systems. So you can subscribe to get not just the feed of the changes to the regs at various levels across the company, across the country, across the globe, but the vendor provides summaries of they break it down into relevance questions. Does this rule apply to you? Easy to answer relevance questions. Lists of things you can implement and to become compliant with the rule, and they package those things in software. So there's a lot of good things going on in the legal industry. I do think as we look at, everybody's in crisis mode today, so we're implementing the tools and making these tweaks that are necessary to keep the lights on. But as the legal industry is, as we all know, fairly slow to adopt some of these things. But I think the lesson learned conversations people will be more open to, all right, even if it's not a conscious verbal conversation, hey, what do I need to do to make sure we're better prepared next time? So just some of my thoughts.